Unfortunately, I found out that I am a very sensitive person. By very sensitive, I mean that I'm the kind of girl that cries when puppy zebra gets eaten by the Lion King on wildlife documentaries on Discovery Channel. I say unfortunately because in this era, being sensitive is considered a weakness. I've been told multiple times that my sensitivity makes me mentally weak, which is weird. I thought that feeling emotions, any kind of emotion, was normal, when apparently it is not. So, me worrying about the feelings of a guy who just broke my heart more than my own makes me stupid, and I kind of agree with that one. Telling my friends to stop making fun of a random girl that is walking by just because she's wearing a fancy dress makes me a boring killjoy. Asking my relatives not to vote for rightist parties, which are basically saying that they would rather see immigrants die rather than helping them getting a new life, makes me a communist, as if it was worse than letting people die in the ocean. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if people actually care. At this point, I am starting to wonder if people actually care just a little about what others are feeling. Nowadays, it is normal to only think about ourselves. I mean, who cares? And it's hard for people to realize that as humans, we're all the same and that we're all feeling the same emotions. We're lacking empathy. The funny thing is, when I told my friends, teachers, families that I was going to write a speech about empathy, literally all of them, except maybe for my grandma, asked me, "What is empathy?" People don't even know the meaning of this word. Empathy is our ability to identify what someone else is feeling or thinking and to respond to their thoughts or feelings with an appropriate emotion. So, for example, if you see a person crying because they just dropped the whole pizza on the floor, the most appropriate reaction would be start crying too. I mean, I definitely would. Such an easy thing that I feel should be fundamental if we wanted to live in a peaceful and respectful society. If you think about it, the lack of empathy is one of the main causes of many, many horrible things that have happened throughout history. Do you think that white colonizers that took over America and slaughtered millions of tribes, or German Nazis who tortured and killed basically every single Jewish person in the country, cared about their feelings? Empathy and humanity are left aside, just to be overcome by selfishness and thirst for power. Keeping the same mindset, if things happen once, I don't see why wouldn't they happen twice. Human beings are commodified. Old people and useless people are disposable. Children of immigrants' families are taken away from their parents, tossed in cages, and half the population supports it. Planet Earth is considered a giant trash can for businesses to dump toxic waste and pollution. Entire countries are being bombed just for economical reasons. And somehow, this becomes normality. We become anesthetized by medias, which are mercilessly showing us people killing each other and destroying the planet and children starving. And after some point, we just stop caring. How many times have we seen scenes of destruction and death and haven't blinked an eye? We feel safe, because there is a screen, both physical and metaphorical, that is dividing us from this type of negativity, and whatever happens on the other side is just not important. We're living in an era in which the lack of empathy is going to destroy our society. And now, I am trapped in my own mind thinking, what would happen if we forgot how to feel empathy? I can still hear in my mind the words of a person that was once very close to me, that one day came up to me and told me that my kindness was pointless and that I should probably start only thinking about myself. I am afraid of imagining a future that is going to be closer than we even imagine, in which people don't care at all if someone else is feeling or thinking something. We're going to go through a phase of the future in which people are not going to care at all. I can only see a future of pain, destruction, selfishness, and I do not like it. In his book, The Empathic Civilization, the economist Jeremy Rifkin discusses the modern world, commenting that while the backlash of globalization, the political populism, terrorist attacks, and xenophobia is widely reported, far less attention has been paid to the growing empathic extension. Rifkin does not believe that, as a species, we are at our most empathic, but that it may be our only salvation. There is a set of assumptions about human nature that thinks that human beings are materialistic, self-centered, autonomous, and selfish. Exactly as I said before, people generally live by the idea that we should only think about ourselves. However, humans are social beings. There is growing scientific evidence that we are one of the most social out of animals and a fundamentally empathic species, which may turn out to be the saving grace for modern society, if we only learned how to use this trait the right way. We tend to feel empathy for people who we feel are closer to us, our friends, family, teachers. As Emile Bruno, a neuroscientist at MIT, has demonstrated, we might feel a lot of empathy for people we feel are closer to us. But if we have a strong attachment to people that are part of our group, we tend not to feel the same empathy for people who we feel are not part of the group. So, for example, if you see a relative struggling, you might try and put yourself in their shoes. But when someone outside your circle of friends is going through the exact same thing, you don't feel anything. Or maybe you do feel something, but you just ignore it since it's not touching you personally. Maybe it is time to take a step forward to extend this empathy that can be related to a strict circle around us, to the whole world, to the whole society. As former President of USA, Mr. Obama once said, the biggest deficit that we have in modern society is an empathy deficit. We are in great need of people being able to stand in somebody else's shoes and to see the world through their eyes. Maybe it is time to take a step forward. It's time to extend this empathy to people that, even if they are not so close to us. I do believe that the only way of saving the future of our moral lacking society is to learn how to be empathic and to stop caring about individuality, but starting to work together for a better tomorrow, for a better future. Less selfishness and pain, more empathy, altruism. And to those who usually tell me that feeling more empathy would probably mean feeling worse, I usually say that I'd rather feel sad than not feeling anything at all. Thank you.